I've got a long history with the men's movement. I was in Berkeley, and that was sort of the heart of the really radical feminist movement, and it was very real questions that they were asking, and I felt really confronted by it, and had to look at things that I'd never even considered or looked at before. I started on my own, leading men's groups, which I did for many years. Then I incorporated a lot of the things that I learned in men's groups into Tantra groups, because I was interested in working with the feminine and bringing the men out in relation to the women. And I'm still doing a little bit of that. And now I feel like something started itching a couple of years ago, just watching like the world politics, seeing the swing of the right, seeing a kind of unhealthy polarization between men and women, and having a few good friends who were kind of waking me up to, hey, do you realize these kind of gender issues are going on right now, and starting to tune into that. And so I was not surprised at all. In fact, I would say I completely expected that there would be a groundswell right now in interest in men's work, as there is a there's always a need, but the need is made very clear right now. And so that men are interested in, that men realize they need to come together and they need to find their inner resources and connect with other men and break down the barriers and be able to stand for themselves as men in their masculinity is, in some way, the planet depends on it. It's like it's really extreme right now. And it's time for us guys to really show up.
I agree completely. Why I got involved now in the men's movement, or we could call it the men's movement 2.0, is simply because both in Europe and North America, there is this misunderstanding that equality demands similarity. And that is a terrible misunderstanding. Equality and difference can certainly be combined, and they should be combined. And we're actually looking at a return to the original nomadic tribe where men and women were equal. So we have to redefine masculinity, just as femininity is redefining itself. We have to redefine masculinity as an equal force with femininity in society, and men need to find confidence in being men. And what is really serious at the moment is that we have a new class structure that especially the internet has fostered. And this new class structure, this what we call attentionless society we're building right now, when everybody, 7 billion people on the planet, directly connected with each other. It turns out that, for example, if you look at Facebook, the average woman has about 4 times as many Facebook friends as the average man. Women are much more socially intelligent. They're much more adaptable to this new communicative environment. So they're moving ahead in all those fields, and that means in the social life too, women deal with that a lot better than men do. So what we're discovering is that we still have a slightly male-dominated upper class, specifically because technology is driving society today, and men dominate technology. But we have a very large new female-dominated middle class in society. But we're also getting a new male-dominated underclass. And these are the guys who sit in front of the computers. They're there 6 or 7 hours a day, just like everybody else on their smartphones and their laptops. But their internet consumption consists of pornography, consists of gaming, and hate clubs. And they turn to the hate clubs because they haven't figured out how they can be socially intelligent and have a self-confidence in the social arena any longer. And we used to save them with factories, we used to save them with military service before. We don't have those institutions left any longer, they're not valuable. So we have this whole new male-dominated underclass. And the only way for them to get a like on Facebook is actually to join a hate club. If we don't have a new male leadership that takes responsibility for other men, we cannot save the brothers at the bottom of society any longer. They'll be lost, and they'll be very dangerous if we don't save them.
Well, it's really important for men to spend time with other men, just to separate themselves out, for one thing, from the ways that they alter their behavior and compromise and adapt themselves in order to seem attractive to women. So for authenticity's sake, men find it, and I find men very generous and very supportive with other men when we come together. So there is truly something called bonding. There is truly something that relaxes the whole system. And if men need anything, they need to actually learn how to be present. And I think because we didn't get that from a rite of passage, from our fathers, we didn't get initiated into masculinity, we have to go back and we have to find out some things which are just fundamental to how to be. so that we know our place and we take our place and we speak our truth, and in great respect towards the feminine, in great respect towards the world. And that happens, in my experience, more quickly and more directly in the company of men, because we understand each other in a certain way. It's not separatist, but we understand each other, and we can challenge each other in ways that we can't be challenged by women. And when the men come together with a deep love of the truth and a willingness to be honest and courageous and to go there, it's like it opens the heart of the other men. It's celebrated, we're honored. Like you've been talking about, changing from envy to admiration. It's a really important thing. Rather than having our deficiency dominate our perception, so that somebody who has apparently something that we don't have, we feel envious of, and then we go against them. Rather, we expose our own deficiencies and our shortcomings in front of each other. We find out that they're actually illusions, they're paper dragons. We do have what it takes. We get the support and the love and the camaraderie that allows us to stand in those shoes and then go forth into the world, and to be able to stay present in the company of women, to speak the truth to a woman, to risk a woman's rejection and anger by telling the truth about what you feel, see, need, what your vision is. I think it's kind of one of the ways where a man graduates from a kind of boy, a puer, into a real man.
We invented a terrible religion called individualism in 1637 through Descartes' I think, therefore I am, as a response to Christianity or whatever. But it was a terrible religion. It's this idea that there's 7 billion people on this planet who are in constant competition with one another. It is ridiculous. I mean, we are tribal beings, we're flock animals, we like to work together in groups and get things done and all that. And it's especially tragic for men, because when a man enters a room and sees the other men in the room as competition, he gets it all wrong. So we have to re-gear men into seeing other men as collaborators. And as soon as men start collaborating, they do the most amazing things together. So you have to turn them around to that. And that ties into the shift from envy towards admiration. Because if you don't see another man as a competitor to you, but rather as a collaborator, you also can skip the envy. Oh, he's different from you. He has talents that you don't have. Great. Then he can do that. And he can then start admiring you for having different talents from him, where you can contribute. And this thing about contribution, this thing about finding purpose in your life is absolutely essential to being a man. And we can only find that purpose that gives meaning to our life in the company of other men. And the irony is, when men have really strong social networks with other men, women applaud it.
I agree. And I just want to say, my experience is that women, the thing that they want from men is presence. They want grounded, solid, masculine men who are in their presence. They don't want boys. They don't want performers. They don't want machos. They don't want people that try to manipulate them. They just want the guy to be there. And there's no better training ground to learn that than being together with other men.
If we arrive more or less at an equal society where men and women are treated as equals and have the same rights and hopefully also the same responsibilities, then women will start to take care of other women. They're really good at that. They're really good at that. Now men have to pick up the tab and start taking care of other men. We don't actually have to provide for the entire society in any way whatsoever. We should just concentrate on taking care of other men, because the main social problem, say the next 30 to 50 years, is going to be a lot of weak men out there who can't orientate themselves in this very complex world, and they can't find purpose. So that's going to be a huge challenge. For me personally, that's my own journey. It's like, I feel that I'm a man of privilege, and I want to help my brothers out there. And I think any man who's privileged in society today and feels you become one of the winners, you were lucky, you had the right mentors, the right fathers around you when you grew up, so you were lucky in that sense. There's a lot of broken men out there that need your support. And that's why I think the cause is so important in itself, that will generate a lot of interest and a lot of activity. And I'm very hopeful with that. Historically speaking, once men find that they have a really important cause, in this case saving men themselves, they really step up. And I think we're just the pioneers of that movement, what I call the men's movement 2.0.